Hey everyone, this is Chris, and you're listening to One Cross Radio, CarCast 3, Tokyo Drift. As you can tell by the title, and probably the sound, I am in my car. I'm about to be driving over to pick up my prescription for the medication that helps with my anxiety attacks, so that's going to be needed. And I wanted to do this because I got one coming on. I feel it. So this is a way to get that energy out. I'd consider throwing on this fantastic subgenre of music I got introduced to through the excellent podcast Quick to Listen. It's through Christianity Today. It's just phenomenal. I highly recommend it. And at one point, I can't remember what they were talking about, but they were talking about an online music service that's not Spotify, where you could get playlists and really obscure subgenres. So two of those were, one was Celtic Viking metal, and then the other was Celtic folk. And surely enough, there is a wonderful subgenre of Viking Celtic folk metal, and it's just wonderful. Anyways, before I start driving, because I'm about to, I just wanted to read something that our dear friend Hector Mirai from Faith and Fandom shared on his Instagram. And it's truth. Hector always drops wisdom and truth. Friggin' love that dude. So anyways, the post said, maybe it's not about deciding who needs extra kindness, but knowing everyone does. And that is going to inform... Sorry, I'm chewing gum. Because I'm trying to get rid of my coffee breath before I get there, and I mask up, and then it's just coffee breath right into my face. Whoops. Yeah, I wanted to talk about this just because I think it's a needed reminder for everyone. So listener, I'm not sure what's going on with you where you live. If you live in Ontario, you're going through this. If you're living in certain states, you might be going through it, or other provinces. But I know we have listeners in Japan, New Zealand, England, and I'm not sure what's going on with it there. But last week they announced, and starting September 21st, 22nd, so a couple days after our next federal election, we are going to be having a vaccine passport in Ontario, and it's complicated. I know a lot of people are just 100% for it. I am for the vaccines. My personal opinion is, if you can, I think you should. I see it as beneficial not only to you, but others around you. I think you can honor Christ through doing this. That's not to lay guilt or anything. That's just to share my opinion. And I understand why we've gotten to the vaccine passport stage, but it is also unfortunate. It's something that some businesses have been asking for. It's something that a lot of people in the province have been asking for. But there are people who are negatively affected by this. And especially now, it seems like if you are at all opposed or questioning the vaccine, you're grouped in with the extreme anti-vaxxers, and one, I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's genuine. Everybody's their own person. But then also, with some of these mandates, it gets into the area of violating human rights, according to Ontario human rights and Canadian human rights. And again, not sure where it stands in your country, or depending on the province you're in. But within Ontario, this is right around that area, and it's interesting in a way, in a morbid way, because if you go on the websites and you see, like, to the Ontario Human Rights, whatever the acronym is, you will see how they show that if a workplace, if an employer, or one of the places that are enforcing these are doing it correctly, it's a giant inconvenience, but it's not a human rights violation. However, I have some friends who, quite frankly, should be medically exempt, whose doctors feel they should be medically exempt, and evidently, at least right now, the doctors are being told the only way you can get exemption is if you have an allergic reaction to the vaccine. But you don't know if you're going to have an allergic reaction until you have it. So even if you're a person that has had a history of horrible side effects from the vaccines and nervous reactions, I understand that this is not the majority of people at all. It is an extreme minority, but for that extreme minority, this sucks, because they can be prone to blood clotting. They could be prone to adverse reactions. A lot of people who do have an insanely compromised immune system, this could have a negative impact. Yes, it hypothetically could go smoothly. It absolutely could. But it's also a situation where evidently doctors are feeling they do not have an option other than to say, even though they're saying to the patient, if I could, I would put you down as medically exempt, but I'm not allowed. And that's really, really iffy. So with all this, I understand we are at potentially the tail end, although there's loose conversation that unfortunately always loose rumors or whatever, that a fourth lockdown is potentially on the way. Hopefully not. Ideally not. And I understand, tempers are high, patience is low, and willingness to understand or hear someone else is seemingly even lower. But we got to try to understand where people are coming from, and then show them grace, because, like it or not, at the end of the day, they do, people have the right to say no, and right now they don't feel that, and that's going to mess with them. And this isn't to get into the wider conversations, because there are great conversations to be had within that wider one, but forcing someone into something isn't necessarily the best way to go about it. Yeah. So please, and this definitely goes for me as well, because I've been extremely tired and stressed and anxious lately. Some dude is rocking a Batman t-shirt with the Canadian flag in it. That was awesome. Sorry. So I know at times my patience for things is low. So if you're a friend of mine and it seems like I've reacted less charitably or more harshly than I normally would, or anything like that, I do sincerely apologize. Never my intention. But yeah, we gotta be so much more graceful with each other, and not just here right off the bat, oh, you're not getting it, and then jumping to the worst conclusion about someone. It's not charitable. It doesn't. It's not accurate. It's not true. All the things that you're saying about the hardcore anti-vaxxers, you're then acting out, and it's just not how people should be treated. Like, treat each other as you would want to be treated. Now, I understand you could be like, well, if I was doing this, I'd want someone to call me out, which, fair enough, but probably not with the same anger and vitriol with which you are doing to other people. And listeners, especially friends, I'm not talking about any of y'all when I say this. We will always have one-on-one conversations. It is never, ever, 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 ever a call out or anything like that on this podcast. That's never my intention. Also, can you guys believe we're almost at 4 years? It's bonkers to me. All right, so that was the main thing I wanted to talk about. Just reiterate, don't ask who needs extra kindness today. Just understand everybody does. Thank you, Hector, for that message and that reminder. And I hope and pray we can all live it. And other fellow believers, please, if you know people who are on the fence, pray for them. If you know people who are opposed, still pray for them. If you know people who are absolutely for it in a big bad way, guess what? Still pray for them. Pray for this whole situation, because it's vastly complicated, as much as we'd love it to be straightforward. And there's a lot of tension, a lot of frustration, and a lot of right up to the line-isms. So keep all of this in your prayers, and especially love your neighbor as yourself. That comes right after love the Lord your God. Kind of tells you how important it is. All right, so the other quick things, because I'm like 3 minutes out from the Pharmasaur, is the devotional. You've seen me plug it online. And I got to be on Nerd Chapel's live thing this past Monday, and that was awesome. Thank you for having me on, Eric. But the devotional I got to participate in and guest author 6 chapters for, the Fantastic 42, Facing Doom with Hope. A Fellowship Facing Doom with Hope. It dropped. It's so wonderful that it's out. Hearing some people's reactions to it, reading it, and just, it's wonderful. Praise be to God. If you're interested, I highly recommend you check it out. There's a lot of good stuff. You do not have to be a hardcore fan to get the stuff. And I can also promise it's not at all like, hey, we're slapping Jesus on a Lifesavers logo or anything like that. Like, this ain't kitsch. We're not forcing these meanings in. And it's a wonderful read. I've been thoroughly enjoying it. It's a great devotional. So you can find it on Amazon. If you're in the States, I'd recommend look up Nerd Chapel. They will have more information for where you can get it. And I cannot recommend enough that you check it out. All right, I am almost there, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna get my. Oh yeah, I am. Whoa. Sorry, a lot of rain just suddenly hit. And yeah, that is basically it. Wow, it's packed in here. That is basically it for today, but we'll be right back, because I think I'm gonna pick this back up on the way home. Okay, this says Rexall parking only, and I'm parking to go in here, so I think it's okay. All right, we'll be back after these quick messages.
Hey, this is Eric Anderson from Nerd Chapel. Nerd Chapel is all about bridging the gap between nerd culture and the church. This is done by an online and social media presence, a physical presence at comic, anime, and gaming conventions, and with tabletop game nights in Spring Lake, Michigan. I've also co-written 2 devotionals for Nerds and Geeks with Nathan Marchand. 42 Discovering Faith or Fandom, and the new 42 God Terraforms All Things. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, and please explore the website nerdchapel.com for more information.
Okay, and we're back. Sorry, you're hearing me reverse. Now leaving and heading home. I've got my prescription plus some other goodies. And I don't need to narrate all that, so I'm going to stop. I mean, it's juice and stuff, but whatever. Anyways, so by this point in the podcast, you've also probably heard some background noise. That's the air conditioner. The weather is kind of crazy today. It's cool, then hot and super humid, then kind of cool again. It's suddenly raining and then bright sunny skies. Yeah, the weather's bonkers today. So sorry about that noise in the background. I've got it as low as I can, but again, I'm a furnace. I'm freaking dying. Like I am sweating like crazy, and it's because I'm hot. What do you mean I can't take my sweater off? I'm hot. Good times. Anyways, the other thing I guess I kind of wanted to talk about quickly is so I mentioned earlier, we're coming up on 4 years of One Cross Radio, which is still bonkers to me. The heck is time? And Jill and I have been together for over 10 years at this point. It's crazy. It's friggin' nuts. It's awesome. But with the podcast, even though we're coming up on 4 years with One Cross Radio, and here's to another 4 or 6 or 27. And if you guys stick with me that long, oh my goodness, thank you. Yeah, as we're coming up on that, I've mentioned over Instagram a couple times, and Twitter, Christian and I, in a way, I'll say my former Into the Weeds cohort, because I'm not sure if that series is going to continue, because Christian and I have launched our own podcast. It's called the Radio Arcade Podcast, and we've recorded 2 episodes, 2 debut episodes. One kind of got lost because Christian's laptop crashed, so hopefully it can be recovered. And dude's an awesome musician, and hopefully he can get his songs back, most importantly. And then we dropped our debut episode. I'm recording this on Thursday. We dropped it yesterday, which was September 8th, my birthday. Thank you so much for all the birthday love, everyone. I really appreciated it. It was the best day I've had in quite some time, and the least anxiety-filled day. So that was nice. It was a nice change of pace. It wasn't my norm. So we dropped that. We're both really, really excited to continue doing that. So I don't know if we're going to continue Into the Weeds on this show as a sub-series. I know we've got one more in the vault that I've just got to get out, edit, and all that. But after that, I'm just not sure, because we're already doing the other show, so we might just cover some of the content that we would on Into the Weeds over on the Radio Arcade Podcast. And if you're a Christian going over, I'll be straight up with you. The rules of our content are a little looser. Neither Christian nor I ever intend to offend, but it's not going to be bleeping out every cuss word and all that jazz. So just keep that in mind. But I highly recommend it. We wouldn't be doing it if we didn't think we had worthwhile discussions. And also it's great for us because it gives us a chance to connect, get some of that creative energy out, in a way, get some of the angst and whatnot out and thoughts. And we will make sure future episodes sound better. I did get some loving feedback from people where they said, Chris, I can barely hear you. I can hear Christian great, but I can barely hear you. And that's something I noticed when I tried to edit it. I still, I could hear myself, but I had to jack the volume all the way up. For whatever reason, even though we were both on the Skype call, Christian's audio was picking him up great, mine was not so much. But because it was one track, I couldn't jack the volume up on me without making Christian's great sounding audio boom and be insanely overpowering. But we will make sure future episodes sound better. I hope you enjoyed it. We are set up through Red Circle, and you can find us through so far right now you can find us through Red Circle, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. And we will be working on getting into other podcatchers. You can, if you've got any questions or comments about the show, you can email us, Radio Arcade podcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Instagram, and we will soon be setting up a Twitter. Twitter's a mixed bag. I have a lot of fun interacting with other podcasters, but it's also Twitter. It's it's the source of a lot of misinformation and rage-inducing comments and tweets and stuff. So Instagram, I haven't had that much of a bad experience with. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to growing that podcast as well. Like I said on the first episode, we're continuing One Cross Radio. There's no way that this is stopping. This is my baby. I have no doubt, and I've heard how the Lord is using it, which was just so encouraging and moving, and especially with the season that it's been for the past while, that was so nice to hear and receive that encouragement. Yeah, and we've got some future episodes that I don't know when we're going to record them, but I'm really excited to, because it's also giving me that motivation to catch up on stuff. Like Steve is wonderfully patiently waiting for me to get caught up on the MCU shows, I think with the exception of What If, so we can do our Disney Plus MCU podcast episode. He's also, I've got to catch Shang-Chi. Neither Jill nor I feel comfortable enough yet to go into a theater. It's just where we're at. I am immune compromised, so I've got to be extra picky, especially as I'm job hunting and I'm trying to get back to work. So I'm really looking forward to seeing that one. And of course, Spider-Man No Way Home, which looks really cool. I'm trying to avoid a lot of the speculation, mostly because, while it can be fun, we've done it on this show. A while ago, there were just so many rumors and stuff where I'm just like, I just want to get some official comments on this and see what they're going to promote. And universally, we all have a fairly good idea of where this is going. It's not exactly a secret, but it hasn't been fully released into the press yet. I'm talking about the speculation of this being a mini, kind of a Spider-Verse movie involving Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, which even though I really hated that iteration of the character, a lot of people love him, and power to you. If you can enjoy it, that's great for you. Legit. I'd rather not hate something. I'd much rather enjoy things. But I don't enjoy those movies. There's aspects that I do, but for the most part, I don't really enjoy them at all. But a lot of people do, so Toby being back will be great for those fans, and as much as I don't like it, it does have a connection to the Spider-Man history. So that, in essence, like, that'd be cool. That would be. Also rumored is my boy Andrew Garfield, which Amazing Spider-Man 1 and 2, especially 2, gets so much flack, and I really, really enjoy them, and he's still really close as my favorite Spider-Man. His performance was excellent, and the characterization was very, very Spider-Man, very early Spider-Man, from like the early days when Spider-Man was kind of a dick. You had a lot of those aspects in Garfield's Spider-Man, and the quips, and this is to take nothing from Tom Holland, who's knocking it out of the park. If done well, this could, like, with those rumors and the many, many others, this could knock it out of this could be outstanding. I'll be honest, if it was strictly Sony doing this, I would not be excited at all. I don't even know if I could say I'd be cautiously optimistic, because their track record with live action Spider-Man movies involving multiple characters is not good. It's frankly terrible. So we'll see what happens. I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also trying to stay away from the rumors. Eternals is coming up, and I gotta say, I love the look of it. That last trailer for it got me really psyched for it, and part of my excitement for it is I know next to nothing about these characters. I'm not gonna lie, I've never read It's Raining Hard. It is Jurassic Parking out of nowhere. I've never read an Eternals comic. And the only things I know about him are what Steve shared with us way back on our podcast talking about MCU's Phase 4. And I like not knowing, because then I don't have this vested interest, like years of love and everything tied into where if the movie's bad and the character is done poorly, then of course I'm gonna be very upset. And I like not being upset. So getting in to just go in without that deep fan love and everything, it is refreshing every once in a while. Of course, I love going to see characters that I love, but it's sometimes nice. Again, that goes back to talking with people a number of people who really love, like, say, X-Men 3, The Last Stand, or even the awful Wolverine Origins. A number of them have been like, yeah, we're not huge X-Men fans, we're here for a light action movie, kind of, with Snickety Snick Cly McClaw guy, aka Wolverine. I used his unofficial name, Snickety Snick Cly Clarkson guy. So I gotta admit that I can't do that, but that's nice for them. So I'm really interested in seeing how Eternals plays out. Most of the time, a movie with Evangelina Jolie's in it, that's a strike against it for me. But it's not in this case. Like, it looks great, and I hope it is great. Yeah, that's where we're at. I'm home now. I'm gonna sit for a minute because I don't have a raincoat, and my stuff's in a paper bag, which will get shredded in the rain. The weight will break it, blah, 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 blah. So, all that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I know the sound is off because car, AC, echo, loud rain, chewing gum, and all that. But thank you for listening, because again, this helps. Doing these on the fly does help a lot with the anxiety. because it gives my mind something to focus on, and it forces me to focus on something, which is very, very helpful. As always, if you enjoy what we do and you feel you can financially support, please head on over to our Patreon, patreon.com/onecrossradio. We have a number of tiers, and if you would all can, that'd be wonderful. Thank you to my patrons, Bex and Nathan. Thank you guys so much. Shout out in no particular reason to our friends over at Geek Devotions, Cardboard Koinonia, Nathan from Monster Island Film Vault, Bex from Redeemed Otaku, friggin' Dorkness to Light podcast. All of y'all are awesome, and I love communicating with you guys. Eric, of course, from the Nerd Chapel. You're a blast to do those live things with. Also, while I'm talking Instagram, we've started doing some short videos because there's a limitation of 15 minutes, and then once you factor in the intro and the outro, it's like 14 and a half or something. We're doing some video content. I'm calling them OCR Shorts. They are over on our Instagram, our YouTube, and I'm posting them to our website as well. We've got 3 so far. I'm trying to post them on opposite weeks. So on a week of podcast drops, there's not going to be an OCR short, but on that week where there's not a podcast, there will be. And also, if you sign up to our Patreon, there is exclusive content, sometimes be it exclusive episodes or exclusive video content. Yeah, all that being said, remember, off the top, pray for one another, love each other as you'd love yourselves. It's incredibly important. Again, it's right after love the Lord your God, which should tell you, and loving your neighbor is something repeated hugely throughout Scripture, and we need to do that. Pray for each other. Pray for this whole passport situation. I get why people are hugely for it. I understand that entirely. I get why people are against it. And I understand some of their perspectives. And I'll say some because there's some takes where it's like, this makes no sense. There is no actual evidence. There's no evidence. Nothing supports this take. This is wacky doodle. So those I don't understand, but there's other ones where, though rare, they are extremely legit, and it is an unfair situation for them. It really is. And not one that I would want to be in. So pray. Pray for grace. Pray for understanding. Pray for learning. Pray for our leaders. Pray for this upcoming election. And pray for everyone involved. Basically, pray. And again, if you want to check out the devotional, it is the Fantastic 42, a fellowship facing doom with hope, and you can find it on Amazon.ca and Amazon.com, and also hit up Eric at Nerd Chapel for more information. All that being said, all of this long-winded section has gone on much longer than planned. Have a wonderful day. Thank you all for your love and prayers. Please keep me in prayer for the job hunt and everything. I hope you heard my heart. I hope this was encouraging and enjoyable for you. Have a wonderful day. Take care, and God bless, my friends. Peace!